Hansel and Gretel, of fairy tale fame, are now acting as secret agents. They must use magic, clever thinking, and good teamwork to find a missing king. The movie starts with a king who only has 3 more days to celebrate his birthday. The dishes for his upcoming celebration were arranged on the dining table. But when the king tries to grab the cookies, the magical cookies roll around the table and touch other dishes. It turns out that the dishes were enchanted with black magic as the pasta came to life and abducted the king. One of the guards reported the incident to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister knew the king was kidnapped using black magic and asked the guard to keep the incident a secret. To fight the black magic, they must turn to the Secret Magic Control Agency (SMCA). This agency is a group that has registers of all the magicians. No magic can happen without their knowledge. The SMCA appoints Agent Gretel to find the king. Agent Gretel suspects a circus and follows the ringmaster, thinking he is the one who kidnaps the king. Agent Gretel confronts the ringmaster but finds out he didn't kidnap the king. Instead, he abducted magical creatures. She sets the magical creatures free, and the mermaid gives Agent Gretel a necklace in appreciation. And she also collects a feather from a phoenix bird as the bird flies out of the cage. After a few days, Agent Gretel could not find the criminal. So, the agent's godmother asked her to arrest Hansel, her brother, a thief and a con artist. Hansel has once stolen a whole statue from the palace. He also practiced illegal sorcery, but the agent's godmother believes that to find a criminal, they would need someone with the mind of a criminal, and that with both skills, they will find the missing king. The agent's godmother explained to Hansel why they needed his help. Hansel and Gretel both argued about how their lives have become over the years. With no possibility of them agreeing to work together, the agent threatened to demote Gretel and to seize every penny from Hansel. She promised to make Gretel the best agent of the SMC and to give Hansel a license to practice sorcery. So she equipped them with everything they'll need to find the king. During the investigation, Hansel was still playing around with his tricks. Suddenly, they found a pastry store owned by Elvira. Elvira was formerly a chef in the palace, but was banished by the king because she used black magic to prepare meals for the king. On entering the warehouse, Gretel discovers a potion room in the pantry, which includes a beaker of enchanted vanilla extract. They saw a magical creature made of flowers supplying the cookies to the repository then. Hansel tried to use his trick on them, but it failed. They called on their dog to guard them. But the creatures tried to save themselves from the dog. They went up, destroying one place, and a magical portion, fungus shinkling, made them shrink, turning them into children. Agent Gretel remembers that portion from Baba Yaga and could get the antidote there. They all went in search of the antidote. Hansel reminds Gretel that Baba Yaga eats humans, but Agent Gretel ignores him, saying he cannot eat children. Baba Yaga welcomed them. They stated what they wanted. Baba Yaga said the antidote would be given to them tomorrow, but that was a trick as he gave them a tea that contained a sleeping portion. But they had equipment that enabled them to see every magical bit. Agent Gretel knew the teacher included a sleeping portion, but she and the dog had already drunk it. To save them, she didn't allow her brother to drink it. Baba Yaga led them to a room and expected them to fall asleep. Knowing Hansel wouldn't fall asleep, Gretel tells him about the antidote, Moon Gem, which would wake herself and the dog. Hansel uses a trick on Baba Yaga. The trick is about a fake ticket in exchange for the antidote. Baba Yaga fell for it and gave him the antidote. Hansel took the Moon Gem and made them sniff it. The antidote woke them up, and the dog barked after waking up. Baba Yaga, hearing the sound of the dog, knew they were awake. Hansel quickly closed the door to the room, but there was no escape route. Gretel used one of her pieces of equipment to create an escape route for them. They used one of his portals to escape. After escaping from Baba Yaga's, the siblings try to make their way to the pastry shop, but the portal lands them in Swampland, where mermaids live. They try to seek the help of the Lake Witch, but she mistakes them for spies working for Elvira, the witch of the gingerbread house and former chef of the king. So she tries to turn them into fish. They were spared from being turned into a fish. Lake Witch's daughter recognizes Gretel as the one who saved her from a previous incident. Hansel and Gretel discover that the mermaids have imprisoned some of Elvira's goons. So, they freed the goons who led them to Elvira's lair, where the king was held captive. The siblings learn that Elvira intended to make the sovereign and the whole kingdom fall in love with the magic, become queen, and gain the magical power imbued in the noble title itself. Elvira has fed the king with cookies containing a love potion. These made the king fall in love with Elvira and refuse to leave when Hansel and Gretel tried to save him. So Hansel tries to trick the king into believing that Elvira has a surprise for him, and he agreed to go with them. But the king's weight couldn't let him climb the horse himself, and he needed some help. So Agent Gretel and Hansel decided to pull him up after trying for a while. Agent Gretel told Hansel to pull him up so they could leave on time. But Hansel, trying to make a joke, said the king is not as heavy as the whole stature. Hearing this, the king remembered Hansel as someone who had stolen from the palace. The king ran away from them. In the process, Elvira showed up and met the trio. She orders the guard to throw them into a bottomless pit. After a few minutes, Hansel found a solution to get out of the pit by bringing out a magical ornament given to them by the agent godmother. Using the instrument, they were able to come out of the hole. Knowing it was the last day of the king's birthday party, Agent Gretel checked on how to prepare an antidote that could reverse the love potion spell. She sent Hansel to get the ingredients needed to prepare the antidote. Getting all the ingredients together, she set to prepare the antidote. When it was ready, she shared it amongst themselves so they could inject the king with it. They kept the remaining antidote for those who has eaten the cookies. They all took a ride on a dragon they created using magical power. After a long ride, they finally arrived at their destination. On getting there, they discovered that the king was about to get married to Elvira, but were prevented from entering the wedding hall because they were kids. But Hansel tricked the guard into believing that Elvira was his mother. With Hansel distracting the guard, Agent Gretel enters the hall. She tries to give the reverse portion to the king, but Elvira notices and quickly kisses the king. She goes ahead to feed everyone with her cookies. Everyone present was hypnotized by the love potion, but Agents Gretel and Hansel were not affected by the spell. She is using the reverse potion to save the king and others. They sent Elvira to a faraway land. The secret magic control agency carried Agent Gretel and Hansel to the headquarters, and a magic potion was prepared for them. After taking the potion, Agent Gretel and Hansel were returned to their original size. Having saved the king and the kingdom from Elvira, Gretel is awarded the title of Best Agent by the SMCA, and Hansel is given an official license to perform magic, which he declines since he is incapable of using real magic. Gretel decides to work with her brother on all her future assignments. And this is where the anime movie comes to an end.